Hi there, parents, and welcome back. Today we are going to be talking about adding and subtracting fractions. At this point, the students are learning about fractions, they're learning about numerators and denominators, and that's something we always review with them each day. As a reminder, the top number, let's say we have a 1 here, this is always going to be our numerator. And as a quick reminder, the denominator is the number on the bottom. Now, and the example I give each day is that if, let's say, a student has a donut and they split that donut into the two different pieces, they split it into two equal pieces, and they give one of those pieces to a friend, that is giving them half or one of the two parts. The numerator tells us how many of the parts we have. So, with the adding of fractions, we are at this point starting with similar or like denominators, also known as a common denominator. We are not having to find a common denominator. So an example would be 1/4 plus 2/4. And we're not going to simplify the 2/4 because we want to have that common denominator. So the students have learned that you add the numerators, and that would give us an answer of 3/4. A picture of this would be if we drew a quick tape diagram, and this is going to represent 1/4, and then this one is going to be equal in size, and we shade in 2. This is 2/4. Now, if we add these together, a really important part of the learning is that they see this is 1/4 getting added to the same type tape diagram. So this is going to add there. So it is 3/4. It is now 3/4. A common misconception is if they add the bottom or the denominator. We've been working hard on that and they have been learning, nope, it's because otherwise we're dealing with two wholes. So again, we add across the top. Let's try that one more time. So let's say if we had 3/5, and we'll draw a little line so we're not getting confused, plus 1/5. Again, denominators are the same, so we can add straight across. That's going to give us 4/5. Once again, that picture would look like we have 1, 2, 3 of this one, and we are adding that to, picture the same here, 1, 2, 3, 4, and we have 1 here. This time, we're going to add them together once again. We've got one piece going there, one piece going there, and one going there. That is 1, 2, 3. We now have 4/5 total shaded in. All right, this was originally 1/5. Subtracting fractions. The biggest concept for the students to understand in subtracting fractions is it's to think that they're giving something away. So let's say that same student has 2/4 of something, and they are going to give away 1/4 of something. Once again, we're going straight across, and this is going to leave us with 1/4. Let's look at a picture of that one. So let's say we split this into 4 parts, and they have originally 1, 2 of the pieces. Of the whole, and a way they can think about it is to subtract, right? They want to now subtract a piece that is this big, or 1/4. So to do this, they can literally subtract or erase however many of the parts that they see, and that would give them 1/4 left over. Another way for the students to think about this that you can do at home is, let's say we do that same problem. We do 3/5, we'll use the same fractions, minus 1/5. You can have your student tear a piece of paper into 5 equal parts. Tear it into 5 equal parts, and then give them 3 of the parts. Have them hold 3 of the parts. At that point, have them give away to you 1 of the parts, and that will leave them with 2/5. Again, the amount of parts has not changed. They still have the piece of paper torn into 5 parts. They started with 3 of the 5 parts, and they're giving away one of the parts. That gives them 2/5. Another way to think about this is, let's say you were eating pizza, and we use this as an example today, and you started with only half of it. Let's say this is just leftovers. And so you only start with half of the pizza. Since you're starting with half of the pizza, we can still draw a line where it would have been, and it's now, let's say, in 2/4. If I were to say 2/4, which equals 1/2, minus 1/4, I'm giving away one of these two parts that I started with, and I am left with 1/4. This is just a few of the ways to try to really develop this concept of adding and subtracting fractions. There are many different other ways that we'll be working with. As always, if you have any questions, let me know, and have a great afternoon.